my screen. Okay. Can you see me fine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So welcome everyone. I'll be your host for today and also one of the guests. As usual, we have our monthly Portuguese user group in English because we have a lot of guests from other countries joining us. This is a special session because we have an introduction session with people that are just starting OutSystems showing what they can do. So to start the session, I will do the usual requests. Microphones and cameras will not be on unless we activate them manually. There is also a limit on the number of people. So if you have questions you want to ask in voice, just let us know. If not, I will read your questions from the Q&A section. You can use the chat as you want. There is the public channel, the Q&A section, and direct messages. We will record the meeting. It is already on, and we'll share it a few days after the event online so you can watch, rewatch, or share with other people. And of course, we will have feedback survey where you can say what went well, what went wrong, what other topics you want to see in next events. You are more than welcome to help us make better user groups. So if you want to speak at a user group, you can always join us, apply, and the worldwide community will see the suggested topics and if they fit the community they have. I will show this code again at the end, so don't need to rush for the phone. If you also want to help OutSystems, there is a research program that needs people with all kinds of backgrounds and experience levels. So if you want to help OutSystems, just join. You are more than welcome, and your profile is the profile they want. There are always dozens of initiatives going on that needs people to test or suggest. So you are the right person. Now, our session has 3 presentations. They are very short, about 15 minutes each. And I will wait for my next role to go into more detail on what they are about. We'll leave the questions for the end, so there's no delays affecting the other groups. And we'll hope to end between 8 and 8:30. It will depend on the number of questions. Now, I'm changing my hat. I'm no longer the host. Now I'm the first speaker. Hello, you know me as a member of the community for 11 years now. I've been an MVP for 6 years and a user group organizer for maybe 3 years or 4, I'm not sure. Usually I'm a speaker, but this year I was invited to do something different, to train people into OutSystems. Of course, I accepted. It's an amazing challenge to help people start into OutSystems. We can't only say it's good, we have to show it is good and it's a possibility of career. I started a class in mid-April. They have 2 weeks to learn OutSystems, with most of them with no IT background at all. So it was new for them at all levels. And they were asked to do 3 projects. So I created 3 groups of the 13 people. So 2 groups of 4, 1 group of 5 people. They were given a topic and some requirements, nothing else. So they did with their 2 weeks of knowledge and not even a theme they had to create from scratch. They created 3 proofs of concept just to show what they could do, what OutSystems could do, and how it could be used in a real company with real projects. The company that is providing the training and that did the request is the Manpower Group. It's a multinational company you probably heard about. So they have some real problems and they have the people and the technology. They just weren't sure it was the right fit for their existing problems. And from my opinion, we proved it was the right answer. I can now change to the first group if they are available. So there will be a sequence. The first group will do the application form where people apply to join the Manpower group. The second group will do the onboarding process where a person that was selected starts to provides data to the company to start a contract. And the third one is a portal to communicate with the clients. So working, representing the Manpower group next to the customers. I will change to the first group, the application one.
Thank you very much, Nuno, for the introduction. And good afternoon again, everyone. We're about to share the screen. Here we go. So first of all, I'd like to thank you once again for being here to hear about our projects and what we managed to do in such a short time. So the purpose of our project was to change and to enhance the way the procedures regarding the collection of the information by Manpower, the information of new candidates, as Nuno said. And in order to do this, we need people. So we have a group of 4 people. I can't see the slide yet. Okay, here we are. So my name is Anna. With me, I have Antonia, Patricia, and Thais. So, as I said, the purpose of the project was to change the paper forms which are in use at the moment and replace them with an application which would be accessible in an individual tablet at each Manpower location. We received the briefing, and basically this replacing of the forms would bring a lot of advantages. It would be more environmental friendly, for example, reduce paper waste. It would also prevent any losing of data, any losing of information from the candidates. It was also a requirement to have an internal API so that we could send all the information collected. Another requirement was to have different languages available on these forms. So we followed that request as well, as we will be able to see later on in our presentation. Lastly, we were asked to include data protection statements. So once again, it would be much more convenient to have this amount of papers that GDPR is composed of, to have it compound in the application, so it would be a huge reduce of paper as well, and it would be easier to access the information, to retrieve, to manage the preferences of the candidates as well.
So this is how the form that Manpower currently uses looks like. As you can see, there's a lot of info packed into a limited space. It's already a multi-page form, so it wouldn't make much difference to divide it into more pages. It would just make it harder to fill. This kind of form leads to error that being in a paper-based form are not easy to amend. A simple typo can lead the candidate to have to fill the form all over again from scratch. It's also not physically possible to have this form available on site on multiple languages. So there is Portuguese one and an English one, but it's not possible to have more than that. Other than that, of course, because of the GDPR regulations, it's not a safe way to store personal information. So we proposed a digital solution with a user-friendly interactive interface that, as you can see, it's much more, it's almost fun to feel and to interact it. Info there is easily editable and can be safely stored in the cloud. There is no limit for the amount of languages the form can support, and also the risk of data loss is significantly reduced.
Hello, good day, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for coming. So now we are going to talk about the development process that it took about 2 weeks. And we had this task where we had to develop the form. And we decided to divide this process in through a few steps. So we start by planning and research, where we had to understand what exactly was the main goal of the task. And then we started searching what was necessary to have to fulfill the customer's requirement. And then we start prototyping, where we try to see before the design what was necessary. The design, we thought about some user interface that would be interactive and make the job easier for considering the user experience. And then we went through the development process, which we put all together, or databases or user interface. And then we start testing, so we could certify that before going to the customer, which is the candidate, we will avoid any glitches or bugs. So as you can see on the next page, our website was divided in two main rows. We'll start showing our website view by the point of view of a normal candidate. So this is the view that the candidate will see every time he goes to a Manpower office center. So he will have a tablet and the language. So before fulfilling the form, he will select which language he wants the form to be in, and then next step will be fulfilling the form. So before that, I want to show you the point of view of a Manpower employee. So we have a slightly different design here. So in the beginning of the day, the Manpower of employee will select which office location. We put just a few so to show as a sample. So this will help on the reports that we'll see more ahead. And then we have the menu above, which we'll be talking about each one of them more briefly later. So for now, I will fulfill the form, and you will be able to see as the candidate, and my colleague I will explain a little bit more. Thank you, everyone.
So once the candidate selects the language, they will be redirected to the form in the chosen language. At the form, they will be straight away faced with the GDPR information, and they will be required to comply with it. They cannot move on without complying with the mandatory fields, as you can see, but there are some that are not mandatory, and those are okay not to accept. So there are input fields that begin to appear one by one as the candidate starts to fill them. So this makes the process more light and interactive, and it's more easy than just to be faced with a lot of information at once. The date of birth field has a validation that doesn't allow under 18 to proceed with the application. So that's it. And this form was made to be used in Manpower Portuguese offices. So we have the Portuguese districts and counties here, but this can be adapted. And once the candidate selects where's the district he lives in, the related county options will appear. After that, the candidate will have to select their nationality. It's an input field, and if something similar to Portuguese is written or Portuguese, they won't be asked that question that you see below. But if the candidate states that they're from a nationality other than Portuguese, they will have to confirm valid Portuguese work permit. Without that, they cannot move on as well. Next, we have a professional experiences, some professional experiences inputs. These ones are not mandatory, as the candidate might be applying for their first professional experience, of course, but a candidate can enter as much as they feel like, and they can also delete the experiences if there is a typo or something like that. After that, there's the language selections. Here, at least one is mandatory to be selected, of course, as the candidate will speak at least one language. There is the language selection and then the proficiency levels. Other than our preloaded options, we have the other option, which when selected shows an input field where the user will be able to write what is the language they speak. There is also an open field to any other relevant information and a button to confirm if all the elements provided are true. Without that, the candidate won't be able to move on. And now they can submit the form. So after submitting it, the candidate will receive on the email they provided and a confirmation that the application went well, and they will also see this thank you screen that after a few seconds will redirect to the main screen. And that's the email the candidate will receive. And now let's show you the back office.
Yes, so we also have this back office page, which will show the information submitted by each candidate. It is only accessible to Manpower employees. So anytime a candidate submits the form, his information is added here, and the employee can download the summary of the information by clicking on the PDF icon that we have over there.
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sorry about that. So after retrieving all the previous information about our candidates, we arrive at our reports page. This page is exclusively for the use and view of a Manpower employee, and it is dedicated to retrieving all the data that we have collected from our candidates and manipulating it in order to produce some statistics that may be helpful to Manpower. Among these statistics, we thought it would be most useful to present the following. So we have here on top the amount of candidates that have applied today, in the last 7 days, the last 30 days, and in the last year. We also have a percentage of our candidates' professional experience. That way, Manpower may have an idea of how many are applying for their first job and how many are already more experienced. We also have our applicants divided by their nationality. Here, as you may see, we have our applicants divided into age groups. And also something that we found very interesting, the amount of speakers per language. That way, in the future, in case we want to add more languages to our homepage, we already know which ones are more searched for. And finally, we have the amount of applicants per Manpower office. That way, Manpower may also have an idea of which offices are more active and which are not. And last but not least, the amount of applicants per Portuguese district. So as you may know, these are the features that we judged were more essential and that we were able to comply in the period of 2 weeks. However, we took the freedom to make a list of what features could be interesting to be implemented in the future. And among these features, we thought it would be very helpful to have a nationality drop down instead of an input, because that way the candidate will not make typing mistakes and that will not affect afterwards our reports. We also thought it would be very nice to have a country code before the telephone number. That way it will also be easier to call the candidates in case they are not from Portugal, for example. The candidates would, of course, have an unsubscribe option regarding the mailing list. And the GDPR that they accept in the beginning and their preferences regarding promotional emails would be directly linked to Manpower's mailing list engine. That way, they would have a very easily accessible list of candidates to whom they can send emails to. Finally, as I mentioned before, we could implement more languages to our homepage, making our application for even more global. So everyone, we thank you very much for hearing our presentation. We hope you enjoyed it. And in the end, we are here to answer your questions. Thank you.
I'll just leave a note I forgot at the start. This project is multilingual, so it was made in English. The next projects are made in Portuguese, but it's understandable and all the text will be explained as it is inserted.
Thanks, Tim. Miguel?
Give me just 1 second. All right. I'm sorry. There you go.
Hi, everyone. First of all, it's a pleasure to be here today with all of you, and I hope this experience will be repeated many times. I'm Philippe, and I used to work as a salesman. With me are Miguel, with a background in industrial mechanics, Rafael from system admin, and Walter, actually working as a front-end developer. We embrace the Experience Training Bootcamp to change our professional careers this April. And we are very excited to show you what we have accomplished so far. In just under 2 weeks, we are able to develop a working web application that meets and enhances the full requirements. We had a great time developing this project, and we are looking forward to embracing new challenges in the upcoming future. This project consists in the creation of a web application for the onboarding process, and during these presentations, we will show you and explain how it works in a very simple way. About the advantages, I can give you some. This kind of project brings a lot of advantages to Manpower or any company, such as storage, better protection of sensitive information, reduction of the use of paper, easy to customize and a programmable application that can be accessed all over the internet. Now, Walter will continue. Thank you all.
Thank you, Philippe. So we took an MVP approach to this project, where we developed the simplest solution for the requirements we received and iterated on it. So these requirements were: the forms should be sent by email, they should be unique to each new employee, they should collect data for employment contracts, there should be an upload documents functionality, there should be submission confirmation, and there should be an option to export the forms to Excel. It were simple requirements that we managed to fulfill, and we are going to have a quick demonstration of our app now. This is our login screen for the back office, which can only be accessed by logged users with the manager role. And this is our back office screen. We'll come back to its details later. For now, we're going to click on this button, Gerar Formulários, to generate new forms. In the first field, listed emails, we can input emails separated by a comma. For each of these emails, a form will be generated with a random token for validation. In the second one, we can write the body of the email. And here we have a default template that can be changed. All right, after clicking the Gerar email button, generate email, we will have a preview of the email. We can see that the body was changed by the input. And there's also a default email signature that uses the logged user name. After clicking the send button, the emails will be sent. However, if some of the emails on the list fail on validation, there will be a warning, and only these emails will remain on the list to be corrected. Nice. After correcting and sending the remaining emails, we go back to the main back office screen, and we can confirm that these forms were sent to the chosen emails, and they have the enviado, the sent status. All right. Now we're going to open an email to access the form link. But to test the token validation, first we're going to click on a link of a node no longer valid form. Suppose Miguel used the right link. Okay, here we have some old links that are no longer valid. And these take us to an error screen that asks the user to follow the instructions on the received email. So now we can go back and open a valid form. And Miguel will continue to show you guys how our form works.
Well, hello all. I am Miguel. And for the purpose of the presentation, I will do a little bit of cheating here. Is I am just going to show a feature right now, which is to actually help me delete this one of the forms that we previously did. We can delete all of them, shows us the prompt, and there we go. That will be easier for me because I will now proceed to complete all of the form. Here we have that came from the email that we just sent, and some of the fields that we have is the name and taxpayer identification number, the degree of school that they have, the type of identification card that we have, and so forth. So for the name, we're going to go with our Super Mario friend, which will have taxpayer identification number, his size. Now, he will be, obviously, he will have a specialization course, and he will run with our passport, which we can ID its number right here. Now, our Super Mario friend will be, of course, married with no children, and his tax paying will be on the two persons of the marriage. Now, for the address, Mario will not fill anything, and he will just send us our phone number, which is on the Portuguese format. As we said, we just made this for a Portuguese company. And then there it goes on his email, Mario. There you go. So if he tries to save, we of course disable this, unless he accepts the GDPR and confirms that actually all his data is on a good input. So if he confirms this, he can now save. Some of the fields are of course mandatory. So as we can see, we cannot save until we have actually put our address. So we have here our address from Mario, and zip code. Zip code is also mandatory. And we need to obviously tell the city where we come from. Now we can finally save. And we can see that we have a validation from Forge that validates the Portuguese taxpayer numbers. So it will check that it's not a valid number, and only if we actually get a correct number, we will be able to save. Once this is done, we'll be able to upload any file that we need for our onboarding process. As we can our ID, we can choose a type of file, ID document. Here we go, uploading it. We'll need also a proof of bank account, which we have here. And we need a proof of address. Now, we have not changed this type, so we can actually delete this and proceed to actually upload the correct file if we wronged on a file or the type of file. So we can actually upload the correct one and proceed with our journey. If, however, we don't have all of the files that we need, we have a validation to not let us go. If we actually have them, we can now finish and we have a success page. Now, successfully having done the onboarding of Mario, the back office as an administrator will show that these are the sent. And on the finished ones, there we have Super Mario, Sleeping Beauty, and Vito Corleone. If we click on one of them, any one of them, you just saw Mario, so we're going to visit Vito here. Any one of them, the administrator will have all the information that he needs to know about this person, including if he needs to, he will be able to download any of the documents submitted here. Going back to our list, we of course have seen the erasing feature. We can also now search by name, but with a little modifications, we can search by phone numbers or even emails to actually find the people we need. We can also just filter for finished or started. As we can see, we have the started ones, which have been done halfway, but do not have any items to show. So they're just on the started page. And if we click the sent ones, it's the ones that have never been fulfilled, not even with information, as we can see here. So on the last note, we were asked to be able to export this for the Excel, and it will export all the information that is on our board. As you can see, all of them are displayed. But with just a click of a button, we can filter for what we want to present on that Excel, and just click this button again, and it will give us only the information that's filtered in our board to make it a lot easier for us to have it. With this, I think it concludes our demonstration, and we'll go for Rafael now.
Hello everyone. Thanks, Miguel. It was a nice demonstration. So right now, our prototype is already solving the problem raised by Manpower with the requirements. But like any project, it can be improved. After a brainstorming, our group listed the following possible upgrades for the near future. The first one, the CTT API integration, where we use the zip code to fill part of the user's address. Database integration functionality to export the data to other databases, like, for example, Manpower's employee database. Contract generator, fill a contract template with the new employee info and generate a PDF file. Resend email. At the moment, if a new employee does not receive the form email, the manager has to generate a new one. We want to add the option to resend the email without having to generate a new form and a new token. Send form by messenger, SMS messages. It could be interesting to add the option to receive cell phone numbers and send the form link by message. Camera scanner. When filling the form in a mobile web browser, give the option to take a picture of a document and automatically upload it to the form. And the last one, implement form lifespan. Automatic deletion of unfinished forms after a stipulated time. Thanks for your attention. It was a pleasure. We are open now. If you have any question, feel free to ask them. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you as well.
Yeah, Q&A. No one.
Next group, please. I remind everyone you can place your questions. I don't have anyone so far.
So hello everyone, my name is Ruben and I'm here alongside my co-workers Erivaldo, Marina, Nuno and Sofia, and we are here to bring you client requests. But first, let me just tell you that the last 6 weeks are the perfect example on how OutSystems is just a powerful tool, and combined with the will to learn new things was possible for this group that 6 weeks ago were just starting to learn OutSystems. So looking at client request big picture, we were asked to create a platform that would allow Manpower clients to make different types of requests. So we worked on a platform that is divided in 2 sections, one that is most request-centered and all their stakeholders, and the other one is the administrator back office. So now, to show you all the details, we will start our demonstration with Marina.
Sorry, I was on mute. So, hello everyone. I'll start with our login page. Okay, almost there. Okay, now I will do the login with a client account. So we can start with our list and show them our list of requests. Just a moment. Okay. So here is our list of requests. Oh, we actually can filter by status or list. Okay, just add something. I am logged with the user Darth Vader. He's a client user, and he only can have access to the request that was opened by his company. So in this case, it's Deathstar Enterprises. He can access all the requests, and here we can filter the requests by the status. We have 5 update status. Okay, we can also filter by the type of request for financial department, technical department, or others, and we can also search by subject of our request. Okay, talk a little about our 5 updates. When a client opens a request, the status is new request. Then the client will receive an email with the number and the subject of this request. So the consultant, the Manpower consultant, also receives an email, and then he needs to respond to answer for the client. When the consultant answer for the client, the status change for which client response, and when the client responds for the consultant, the status change again for which Manpower response. The consultant can close on the side of Manpower, then the status change for closed by Manpower, but only the client can close on the system. And if the client don't close the request after 7 days, the status is closed by Manpower, the request is automatically closed on our system. Now we'll show how we can open our request, and Erivaldo will show this.
Good afternoon. Now let's see how to open a new request. So here we can write down subject and choose the type of request, as my colleague already show you. Here in this big field, we'll put down the description. And here we can attach images to the description. After that, click in submit to send the request. After this, as my colleague already said, the consultant will have information about this creation and will treat this request. My colleague now will log in with the consultant account, so I can show you how a consultant from Empower will see the request that we just created. Okay, you'll have a similar page as the client has. The main difference is disaster field when it can filter by company, since it's a consultant. It can have access to multiple companies, and you can see here in the column that more than one company associated to the same consultant. Okay, we'll go now to one request. So this is a request that was created, can answer by right down in this field. You can also attach an image and to close the request. Okay, to close the request, just to click to check this box and the submit button. Status will change to close by Manpower and be waiting to a client to close it definitively. When the consultant answers a request, the client will receive a new email informing him that the request now has a response. So that is it by this request module. Now my colleague Nuno will show you about the administration module.
Thank you, Erivaldo. Hello there, everyone. We're now going to log in with an admin account because we're going to show you the dashboard page. The dashboard is a page which can only be accessed by an admin. And as you can see, it's a statistics type of page. It has some charts that shows the information related to the requests. On the first chart, it shows the quantity of each type of request of all companies. The second chart shows shows the amount of tickets, the amount of tickets that were closed by the client user for each company. The third chart shows an average of how much time it took to solve each request. And the final chart shows the requests that are currently opened, that are not solved yet. Right now, all this information shown on this page is updated at the start of each month, and it will show the results of the month before. But if we want it, it could be updated at the start of each week or at the start of each day. And that's it for the dashboard page. We're now going to show you the admin back office. This is where the admin creates the user accounts, both the client and the Manpower accounts, as well as the companies that the users will be associated to. So first things first, let's create a company. So you just have to input a name of the company. an amazing name, and save. This page shows the list of all companies created. If you click on one of the companies, you can edit the name if you want to, and on the right side it will show the users that are associated to the company, and you can edit the user or deactivate it if you want. And that's it for the company creation. Now Sophia will show you how to create a user.
Okay, so if we go to the user list, we can see all the users that are active. To search for a specific user, we just need to write the user's name on the search box. This list gives us some information. It gives us the user's name, the email, and the company that this user works for. Just like Nuno said here, we also have the option to deactivate a user. What this means is this user will still exist in the database, but this user will no longer have access to the client request module. So it is useful if a user, for example, stops working for the company that they are associated with. To create a new user, we click on the new user button. We insert the name. This user works for Manpower. We just need to click on the checkbox. If this user works for one of Manpower's clients, we need to select the client that the user works for. We write the email and we give this user a password. After we save this email and password, the user is going to be able to log into the client request module using the email and password. To edit a user, we click on the user's name. If the user is a Manpower consultant, we can change the name, give them a new password, and also associate the user with clients. So in the client request module, this user will have access to all the requests made by these clients. If we go back to the list and we edit a user that doesn't work for Manpower, that works from one of Manpower's clients, we can change the name and give them a new password and change the company. If we, by mistake, selected the wrong company, we can correct that here. And this is all for the users list. And now Ruben will tell you about the future features that can be implemented.
Thank you, Sophia. So as you can see, we have achieved a good starting point. So imagine what we accomplish in 3 weeks of work. What are the possibilities as we continue to improve as OutSystems developers? So said that, we thought on some future features that can be added, such as adding the company logo behind the username in the chat mode, had a button to link to re-existing requests done by the same company, and last, to have some feedback conclusion by the client when he finishes a request. He gave us some feedback about the treatment he had solving his requests. So to finish our presentation, I would like to thank you all for being here. And I think there is no better person to quote than OutSystems founder, Mr. Paulo Rosado. So look for purpose, look for goal alignment, look for impact, build your skills, and deliver a great job. Your career will happen. Thank you. And we are here if you have any questions.
Thanks, Ruben.
Thank you, everyone. So far, we don't have questions, so I will be very creative. The first one is obviously, why have you decided to join the OutSystems world? What were your motivations and goals? Don't make me choose people to answer. I do that every day.
I can start on that one. I chose this because I wanted to get out of my career in the mechanic field. It's not a, I don't think it's a job you can go far on today's standards, and you can learn a lot more working in the technology side and I was already attending a course in the university so that I could change my career. And suddenly this opportunity came up by Manpower Group, this offer for this course, and I decided to try. I made it, so here we are. That's pretty much it.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to comment?
I'd like to share too. I was a Manpower employee before all that, but I always wanted to enter this amazing developer world. The Manpower has this opportunity for employees and non-employees too, and it was a great opportunity. Every day I start a day with, I can say that with a smile on my face, because I'm really happy to join this team that in this community that is the OutSystems and the developer world.
And when you were challenged with doing this after, well, I think the idea showed up maybe a week after you started the course. What was your feeling having to do a real project after only 2 weeks?
What I'm doing here. That's my thought. But works pretty well.
I guess everyone here can say that when we were proposed to do a project, none of us were really prepared to what was coming. And I think in the overall situation, we are all really proud of what we achieved. And this is a big demonstration on how OutSystem can be a very useful tool and a user-friendly tool. So, like I said in my presentation, you see what we've done in 3 weeks. So imagine if you continue to improve and making OutSystems your day tool, what you can do in the future. I guess that's basically it.
Paulo is asking if what experience you had before with programming languages.
So I can say that I've worked the last 13 years in a hospital. So no coding history, no IT history, nothing such as that type. And I was given OutSystems to know by a friend who is not programming OutSystems. So
I think it's very relatable for what we felt in the beginning when we had this project, because we all felt, okay, what is Nuno expectations for us? He's think we know programming and it will be very hard what we are going to do. And that is the most surprisingly thing about OutSystems, because once we started, everything become very intuitive. And even though most of us didn't had any previous knowledge on programming or OutSystem at all, I never saw Service Studio in my life. And it was very intuitive, and it helps a lot to feel more confident. And now we have a second project, and we are in a completely different perspective. So we are trying to achieve more sometimes than what we are capable of.
Yeah. Just to give some context, the second project, the first one was this group project required by the company. They had 3 projects complete. For the second one, I said, what do you want to do? And they all said one theme, and they are implementing their own idea with their own requirements. So if they were crazy in mid-April, they are now suffering from that crazy idea. Yeah. So there was no safety net, if you can say that. They said, I want to do this, and I say, okay, you can do it in OutSystems. It can be done in OutSystems. Let's see if you can do it. And you know, my answer is always, it can be done in OutSystems. So we have a very diverse group of projects now in progress.
And Nuno, if I can also answer Paulo's question. I had a little, I had a different background from everyone here. I was already working as a front-end developer with React, but just for about 4 months. So I had a little bit more experience than everyone. But however, I didn't knew OutSystems before starting the program, the bootcamp. And having experienced both low code and regular development, I can say that, yeah, you can do everything in OutSystems. It's really easy to learn and to use, and what in the same amount of time, what you can develop, what you can what you can create is really amazing. It's outstanding. I certainly wouldn't be able to do the same amount of work I did in the group project and on the individual project right now. In React or Angular or the traditional frameworks. So if any of the attendees is just starting as ourselves in OutSystems or thinking about learning out, you already know regular coding and you want to try OutSystems, I say go for it. It's a really amazing tool to develop.
I had a background of engineering, so I knew a little bit some programming, but I never worked with any language. OutSystems is my first, and I'm really surprised with what we all could achieve here in such a short time.
I used to work with Java, but I really wanted to change, to try something new, and I'm really glad that I did, because just like Walter said, it's a really great tool. It's very intuitive, and I think like the development time is very fast compared to when I was programming with Java, and I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to try it and tell everyone to do the same.
I think a question that is missing is if you could go back in time and start, you were about to start the bootcamp now, what would you do differently? What would be your preparation before you start? What would you choose as a project? Everything. If you could just start again. So advising who will start a bootcamp in the future. What do you see now as necessary?
Be less ambitious on the individual project because it's a lot of work, but it's been really fun to work at it.
I think what I can say is from my side, for example, I didn't have any background with programming at all. I was doing customer service, so all my life I didn't work in the area. So it's been a big challenge. And what I would suggest is to start watching some videos, start studying a bit, trying to get this introduction part, this introductory base, let's say, so that it'll make it easier for you to understand the basic concepts at the beginning, because yeah, it depends as well on your background, on your experience. So if you already have some experience, I believe it's going to be easier. If not, I think you have to study a bit more. But yeah, basically that's what I would suggest.
Honestly, if someone would be starting now with the same teacher as we did, is more like actually talk to him and ask the questions, because it's actually a very good teacher, and I think I can speak for all of us. It has helped us all, and every time we presented a question, we actually could solve it together, and it was really fun to watch others solving their problems and solve my problems also. And I think I speak for everyone that it happened for everyone.
You are right. Yeah.
Now it's not the time to talk about me, but yeah, I'm also asking because, as you remember, on the first week, I think it was what is called a cold shower. I think the first impact was a bit strong. I had to change my speed, but yeah, with communication, I think any bootcamp can be adjusted to the audience it has. So people starting now, if they know in advance what they want and they speak from day one so we can fix what's wrong. Yeah, I think anyone can be a programmer. It's very easy. So you may not reach the top of the career, but you can have a career. It's very good. And OutSystems, well, now I don't see myself working in any other technology. 99% of my time is in OutSystems. So, if we don't have any more questions from the audience, I think we can close. So let me just share again the QR codes. So once again, we are looking for speakers for next user groups. You can have 1 month of experience or 20 years. It's up to you. We are open to suggestions on all kind of topics and people. You can join the OutSystems research program. Again, it doesn't matter if it's your first week or you have 20 years of this. You can be helping OutSystems with your unique experience. And finally, thank you. We are preparing the next user group for June, so be alert. The next email you'll get is the survey on feedback regarding today's event. So please help us improve. And thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope to see you again in June.
Thank you.
Stopping the recording.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.